Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the CD guy, Johnny Z here. Thank you so much for tuning back into the channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing the new Motley Crue EP, Cancelled. Cancelled was released today on October 4th, 2024 through Big Machine Records, and Personell on this EP features Vince Neil on lead vocals, Nikki Sixx on the bass, Tommy Lee on drums, Chris Gestrin on keyboards, and John Five on guitar. This is their first release with John Five in the band to replace Mick Mars in 2022. Well, if you're looking for a positive review of the new EP, you're in the wrong place. What I'm going to do here is just run through all three of these tracks. There are only 3 songs on the EP. Starting off with the title track, Cancelled. This was the only unreleased song prior to this EP being put out here, so I was hoping that this would be, a lot stronger than the 2 songs I've already heard, but unfortunately not. This sounds like a corny, pathetic attempt to sound young and hip. It's Motley Crue at 60 years old singing about getting canceled. The lyrics are just plain terrible, and there's absolutely no life to this track whatsoever. Vince Neil's vocals are like nails on a chalkboard, and the riffs aren't all that interesting either. Listening to this track, it's apparent that Mick Mars is sorely missed from a songwriting aspect, and don't get me wrong, John Five is a very talented guy, has worked with a lot of people, has great range, can work with pretty much anybody, but I can't help but feel like he's being creatively stifled in the band here, but, at the same time, he's playing stadiums and getting a payday, so good for him. But if Motley Crue aren't canceled in the year 2024, it's because nobody cares. Besides, I think there's a statute of limitations on being canceled that expires when you haven't made a good album in 35 years. Then we have Dogs of War. This was a single release several months before the EP was announced, and I reviewed it when it first came out. I didn't like it then. I think I like it even less now the more time I've had with it. But like with the title track, it sees the band experimenting with a more modern sound, which is interesting because that worked for Mick Mars on the other side of Mars record, but that's a tale of 2 very different approaches and results, to say the least. I'm not even really sure how to classify this song. Like I said in my single review, it's kind of like a mix of metalcore and glam metal, just an absolute mess of a track in my opinion, with childish lyrics and another poor vocal performance by Vince Neil. And one thing too, a lot of musicians sound better in the studio, but not even producer Bob Rock could save these vocals, which I think is pretty telling. Last but not least here, we have Fight For Your Right. It's a Beastie Boys cover that the band have been doing live now for quite some time. It's much better live than in the studio. I feel like the studio version kind of loses that live energy, but I guess it's a fun, harmless, decent cover for what it is, but for me personally, I'll stick with the original by the Beastie Boys any day of the week. All in all, this is a mess of a new EP, if you can even call it new in the first place. 2 of the 3 songs have already been released, and I was at least holding out hope that the title track, the only unreleased song prior to the, release of this EP, would be something solid, but unfortunately not. I kind of put it right on par with Dogs of War, and I've said it before, and I think it bears repeating again on the channel here. We are not in the era of bands wanting to please their fans these days. We are in the era of big business in the music industry, of low-effort EPs and singles in between nostalgia tours that are a quick way to make money instead of making full-length studio albums. Although, in the case of Motley Crue, I'm not really sure if I want a full-length album from Motley Crue if this is the best they can come up with these days. And, this 12-minute EP is already a big enough waste of time, And so, keep in mind, this is the same band that once said, "We'd rather break up than be bland." And now fast forward to 2024, and they have become the very essence, the very definition of bland and lazy, cruising on their classic stuff and occasionally dropping a cash grab single here and there just to remind us of how washed up they really are. So that wraps up this review here of the new Motley Crue EP, Cancelled. Yeah, I'm not a fan. If not for the new Falling in Reverse album, this should probably be the worst metal release of 2024, so definitely not pleased here, but pretty much what I expected from Motley Crue at this point. I've done a lot of rants on the state of Crue in 2024. I won't say any more. I'll leave a link down below. My single review for Dogs of War, as well as my thoughts on their new Dr. Feelgood 35th Anniversary box set. If you want to check that out, I'll leave it all linked down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell for notifications so you don't miss a new upload, and let me know down in the comments section, what are your thoughts on my review? What are your thoughts on the new EP? Do you have a favorite song? Do you think that Motley Crue at this point should just hang things up? Do you think that it's worth a full-length studio album in the future? Do you think they'll ever make another full-length studio album? Are you interested in more EPs? Will you be seeing them live, next time they come around? I definitely want to hear from you, so let me know all that good stuff down below. And until next time, it's the CD guy, Johnny Z, signing off. Take care, everybody.